Friday night, Michelle and I and a few friends had the opportunity to go to the women's Final Four at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. And Michelle told me, I've got tickets to the women's Final Four on Friday night, to which I thought, cool. I had never really been to that type of event before for women's basketball, and I wasn't sure how much fun it was going to be. And so we went, and the second game was UConn women's basketball team, who is basically the standard of excellence. They have won 111 straight games. Think about that, 111-0. They had not lost in several years. They've won 4 straight national championships. And they were playing Mississippi State, who they had played the year before in the tournament, and beat them by 60. That's a lot. And so I was expecting to go just to see UConn win and to see how many they would win by. And Michelle's boss, it's funny, gave her the tickets for Friday night because the national championship game is tonight. And he said, I want to go Sunday and watch UConn win the national championship. And so we went, and everyone in the arena expected Mississippi State to get blown out. Everyone. But in the first quarter, they went up 15 points. But I was still thinking, UConn is just going to turn it on and blow past them. And halftime, it was a little closer. And at the end of the third quarter, it was like almost tied, to which I said to Michelle, okay, once UConn gets up 10, let's leave and beat the crowd. And so we watched, and they continued going back and forth. And it looked like everything UConn was doing was working. The ball just wasn't going in the basket. And everything Mississippi State did, they worked harder and harder and harder just to get the ball in the basket. And the game was tied, actually, at the end of regulation, which I was still thinking, well, UConn's going to outscore them by 10 in overtime. But we'll stay and watch the last 5 minutes. And we stayed and we watched, and Mississippi State's best player, well, the one who was leading them in points for the game, fouled out with like 3 minutes to go. To which I thought, well, now it's over. UConn's just going to blow them away. But they stayed close, and it was tied with like 10 seconds to go. And everyone in the American Airlines Center was on their feet, and everyone who was there was rooting for Mississippi State, right? The giant underdog, except for these few sections of UConn. Even Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys was there. He was so incognito, he was wearing a Dak Prescott jersey. He went to Mississippi State, so he had his Mississippi State. And so 10 seconds left, they passed the ball in. And the shortest woman on the court, 5 foot 5 inches, dribbles and dribbles and dribbles. And as time expires, throws the ball up. And it goes in. And all of a sudden, everybody just erupts because they know they had just witnessed history. The mighty Goliath UConn had fallen 111-1. In their last 112 games. It was so much fun to watch because nobody in the stadium believed that Mississippi State had a chance, except for the 12 players on Mississippi State's team. Everyone was just waiting to see by how many points UConn would win. But those 12 believed that they could win. They believed that they had a chance, and they won. There is so much power in believing. So much power in believing. And our 2 main texts today, 2 great stories that we read today, Ezekiel and Jesus, are stories about believing in the power of God. The Lord said to Ezekiel, do you think these bones can live? To which Ezekiel said, well, you know the answer, which is a nice way of saying, I don't know. And the Lord said, Ezekiel, say this. And Ezekiel said that. And the bones started rattling. And then they came together. and then the sinews and all the other parts of the flesh, the skin, and then the breath. God showed power to Ezekiel, to give Ezekiel courage, to know that the power of God would protect him. I was reading about this text, and I thought, wow, God has the power to bring together things that are broken. Things that people think are dead and gone and lost forever. There's no hope that these things would ever come back together and rise together. But God has the power to bring things together. And I started reading the word religion. You know what the word religion means? To bind, to bond. Religion is supposed to bring people together. The root word for religion is the same word used for the word ligament, which holds our body together. That God has the power to bring people together. And I think we need to hear that, because over the course of the past, however many years you want to go back, religion has separated people. Separated people to the point of, well, they're never going to be back together. Yesterday, I went to a picnic over at the Islamic Center of Southlake. A few of you were there. Thank you for coming with me. And I was surprised at how many other churches were there represented and how this small community of Muslims is reaching out to try and bring people together. And I was telling them about what we're doing here and how we have our Great Day of Service planned, to which the guy said, "Can we join you? Can we serve with you? Can we do service projects together?" I thought, wow. I think so. Let me talk to some people. I wanted to talk to the Sakakinis because they're running it, but religion, bringing people together. Religion being exactly the definition of religion. How powerful is that? To trust in the power of God to bring people together. And then the power of God to bring life to where there is death. Jesus says, "I am the resurrection and the life. Anything that rises because of me." And then does it right in front of their eyes with Lazarus. Lazarus, come out. You've been dead for 4 days, and comes out. Our psalm today says, "We wait on you, Lord." For as long as it takes. Because I've never done a joke like that before. It's just, I'm really proud of myself. Because you are our hope. You are our hope. The power that God has over death is our hope. And hope is a powerful thing in and of itself. It changes our lives. It changes the way we live. It changes what we are motivated by. Hope changes people and communities. And it's the power of God that gives us hope. But what I love most about the text from this morning is Romans. Because in Romans it says that when you choose to live the life of the Spirit, when you choose to allow the Spirit that is within, the Holy Spirit, which is already within you, when you choose to let the Spirit guide you, not do you just get to witness God's power in your life, but you get to participate in God's power in the world. You get to be the source of showing God's power in the world. And I could not think of a better example than two people who aren't here today. It's like last week I mentioned something, they weren't here, but Phil and Sally Hart. Phil and Sally Hart, they're moving. Their next Sunday is going to be their last Sunday with us. Phil and Sally Hart, they were members of Living Word Lutheran Church, as many of you were. A Lutheran church in Grapevine that in 2009 decided to leave the ELCA. In the spring of 2010, they were part of a group with several others of you who met at Briarwood, and our previous bishop told them, well, you can start a new Lutheran church if you want. But let me tell you, it's highly unlikely that it's going to work. It would be easier to go and join another ELCA Lutheran church. Anybody else there? Does anyone remember hearing those words? And the hearts said, "No, I think we're going to start one." And several of you others said that with them. And literally, Abiding Grace Lutheran Church started in Phil and Sally Hart's living room. Phil and Sally Hart, actually Sally I think was by herself, was on a drive one day around the community and saw Highland Meadows Montessori School. And she stopped in the office and said, "We're going to start a church. Do you have like a gymnasium we can use to worship in?" And Pat Howard said, "Well, yeah, I guess. But you have to, set up the chairs in the morning and take them down and do all these things." Like, yeah. And over the course of Abiding Grace, Phil and Sally Hart have let the Spirit lead them in so many different ways. They have opened themselves up to serve as Stephen ministers. Phil would get here at 7 o'clock in the morning every Sunday and put out the sign on the corner of Carroll and Highland. Sorry, I forgot what street we were on. So that people driving by on Sunday morning would see the sign. Phil would come in most Thursdays, nobody knows this probably, and he would clean out the trash in our garbage cans in our office, and he would take the trash out. Sally would take care of all the membership records. They let the Spirit guide them to start Abiding Grace. They let the Spirit guide them to be a part of everything Abiding Grace was doing, from finances to membership to garbage to hospitality. For those of you who weren't here that first day, how many of you were greeted by Phil and Sally Hart the first time you walked in? They're leaving us. They're going to go bless another community in North Carolina, to be closer to their children, to be closer to their family. But their legacy will always be here because we lift them up as people who said yes to the Holy Spirit. Not to say they did any more than anyone else here, but there's several, how can I say this appropriately? I had this right this morning. No one else here has done more than them. We all might have worked as hard as them. But they are a great example to us for how the Spirit works in people and how it moved them to start a church with others, and how it's moved them to build a church with others, and how now it will continue to move them to find a new church, to continue their mission and ministry in life in that new community, to proclaim God's grace to people who need to hear it. And we will continue on in the same work when we say yes to the Holy Spirit. When we say, yes, we want to participate in the power of God's love and grace, we want to share that with others. We want to see people rise from the dead. From the dead. Because that is what God's power will do. And that's what it's going to do. And how great is that we get to be a part of that. And all we have to say is, yes, Spirit, lead. For I'm ready. Amen.